What's up, y'all? I thought I'd do a little bit different of a video today. I thought it would be a really cool idea to sort of walk you guys through my entire wakeboard career and sort of show you guys how I got to this point. Before we get the video started though, I do need to ask you guys for one last favor. I totally hate asking you guys for things on the channel though, so please forgive me. The other day I asked for you guys to go vote on Wakeboarding Magazine's readers poll for your favorite wakeboarder. What I didn't realize though was that these votes were just to get riders nominated for finals. Good news is that I'm a finalist, and I couldn't have done that without you guys, so I'm extremely grateful. But I'd be even more grateful and extremely hyped if you guys could take the time to please go vote for your favorite wakeboarder. I'll leave the link to go vote in the description below. If I'm not your favorite wakeboarder, that's totally fine. Feel free to go vote for whoever your favorite is. But if I am your favorite, I'd be so stoked if you'd vote for me. These are the categories I was nominated for, and I'm super proud to even make it this far. I was nominated for favorite male wakeboarder park, favorite male wakeboarder boat, and favorite content creator. So if you guys have the time and want to help me out, feel free to go give me a vote. I'd be super hyped. So yeah, let's get this video started. It is insanely windy outside, but yeah, this is basically where it all started. I'm sure you guys have seen this place in some of the videos before, and yeah, my dad probably lives about 150 to 200 yards that direction, and this is basically like the community neighborhood dock. And basically if you just live in the neighborhood, you can come down the hill, hang out down here on the dock, and sort of have good lake days and stuff like that. Whenever I was a kid, my dad used to bring his boat down the hill and put it in right here. He had like a 21-foot Sea Ray from 1990 something, not really made for wakeboarding or anything like that, but that wasn't really the point. We'd basically just kind of go out on the lake and have lake days and stuff like that. Most of the time I just sit in the front of the boat and sort of like scream more power with my friends and stuff like that, just to try and make the boat go faster. And we'd also like start kneeboarding and stuff like that, do a lot of tubing, just have all around good lake day fun. It wasn't until later that my dad actually pulled out the wakeboard that boat came with, and yeah, I'll show you that board now. We're in my dad's garage right now, and I'm gonna show you guys my first ever wakeboard. I actually did a video riding this thing again for the first time since I rode it way back in the day. I actually ended up breaking it, but yeah, we're gonna pull it down right now. So this is it, the Tidal Wave, the wakeboard by Quicksilver. Probably not the same Quicksilver you've ever heard of, but I extremely did not like wakeboarding whenever I rode this wakeboard for the first time. It's extremely heavy, and the entire top of it is like a sheet of aluminum or some sort of metal that's not super light or anything like that. And then on the bottom, it's like this thick plastic with like these phasers on the bottom, and it had like two giant fins, and on the top it had like two sandal strap bindings. And I just felt so uncoordinated whenever I rode it for the first time. I just didn't really enjoy it. It wasn't until later down the road, one of my buddies had an actual wakeboard with bindings on it, and I tried it out. It was actually a lot of fun. It's actually kind of funny because I thought kneeboarding was the absolute sickest, and I thought wakeboarding was pretty lame just because I didn't really enjoy riding this wakeboard that much. It wasn't until later down the road, after I rode the homie's real wakeboard, that we were in Houston visiting my cousin and aunt and uncle, and we happened to go by Houston Ski and Board whenever they were running out of business, and my dad and I picked up this wakeboard with some boots on it for $100. This board is a Free Motion Swinger 135. This board is basically the board I started wakeboarding on. I was around 13 or 14 years old. This board is also the board I learned my first flip on, and yeah, you can tell at the time I didn't really have any regards for any sponsors. I had all sorts of different brands on there like Gator Boards, Volcom, looking for CWB, Jet Pilot, which I do ride for now, Hyperlight, which I also ride for now. I mean, I just loved throwing stickers on this thing. I just love wakeboarding, and pretty much this is the board that made me fall in love with the sport. After we got this Free Motion wakeboard with bindings on it, I was hooked. I mean, I'd be sitting at school waiting every single day for the weekend to come just so we could go on the boat and do a little bit more wakeboarding. I mainly rode with a couple of my friends from middle school behind my dad's Sea Ray. No ballast, no tower. My dad eventually put a monster tower on the Sea Ray, and I pretty much got to the level of jumping wake to wake both directions with grabs and also learning a tantrum. My dad randomly entered me in a wakeboard competition called Wake the Lake, hosted by our local boat dealership. This was the first time I had ever ridden behind a wakeboard boat. It was a 2005 Super Aeronautique 210. I remember thinking the wake was absolutely massive, even though it was only probably this big, extremely tiny compared to today's boats. But yeah, I remember begging my dad to get this boat. I was like, we have to have this, Dad, like it's so good. And I remember him sort of like laughing in my face, being like, are you out of your mind, JB? This boat's $52,000, which is not even a quarter of what boats are today. So yeah, we never ended up getting that boat, but yeah, it was so crazy riding behind a wakeboard boat for the first time. I absolutely loved it. Luckily, we went to the next round of the Wake Lake series, hosted by the same boat dealership, and the O'Brien Wakeboards rep happened to be there. It was Justin Kiefer at the time. I believe he's a Liquid Force rep now, but yeah, I actually rode like the best I ever rode in a contest, even though it was only my second one. But I ended up landing my tantrum, and I was so hyped, and I definitely had not hit puberty yet. I probably looked around like 9 years old, and I remember this guy like coming up and asked me, hey man, like you should ride for O'Brien. And I thought he was joking, and I didn't even take him seriously until like my dad went and talked to him, and it was a real deal, and he ended up like flowing me some boards for a while. At this point, all of a sudden, I was just sponsored out of nowhere, and kind of in my head, I was like, well, you know, if you're sponsored now or whatever, you're gonna need to get like better at this. So after that happened, I really like wanted to improve and wanted to really try and get good at wakeboarding. The next contest we went to is called Wake the Desert in San Angelo, Texas. It's actually still running today. It's the longest running wakeboard contest in existence. I think I got second place, but that's not really what's most important. We ended up meeting a guy called Billy Garcia there. He's been like the local pro in Austin forever. I'm pretty sure he was like Triple Crown Vans Masters World Champion for quite a few years. And yeah, he runs a wakeboard school in Austin, and I ended up kind of like going on his boat all the time because we didn't have a wakeboard boat, and I'd kind of pull on the ropes or help kids put their boots on in exchange for one set a day. And this is really when I started to improve a lot. Now that I had the opportunity to get behind an actual wakeboard boat plus a little bit of guidance, I started learning pretty quick. I learned a toe side back roll, heel side back roll, scarecrow front roll, both roll to reverts, and yeah, just basically all the basic inverts extremely fast. I don't know at what point of time it happened, but we ended up trading the old Sea Ray for a little bit more modern of like a direct drive Supra. It wasn't really like a wakeboard boat. It was more of like a ski boat with a direct drive engine with kind of like a smaller wakeboard boat hull. I think it had like 320 horsepower or something, so it would be really hard to push a lot of weight on top of a plane. So we wouldn't really get the biggest wake ever, but it was definitely enough to start learning some more tricks. Eventually I ended up riding in the pro division in the INT Amateur Wakeboard League. I don't know if that makes any sense, because pro and an amateur league, it doesn't make much sense, but it was a thing. But anyways, I ended up winning a ton of those events, and I thought I was so insanely sick. I seriously thought I was the sickest and like had the biggest head ever. A little bit later down the road, my dad actually entered me in a WWA National Wakeboard Championships event in the junior pro division, and basically this is the run I threw down.
No more sunny days, no more sunny days. I got a heart that won't behave. I got a mind gonna make me insane. No more sunny days, no more sunny days. You got a black cloud over your head.
I actually thought my run was pretty sick, but I was the first person off the dock, and then I watched everyone else go, and I ended up getting my ass completely handed to by everyone else in the heat. I kept wakeboarding more and more, but at this time I don't really know how seriously I was taking wakeboarding. I mean, I had high school 5 days of the week, and I could only really wakeboard on weekends. I think there was even a whole year after high school that I didn't even really wakeboard. Pretty much me and my friends would just kind of goof off every day with like rope swings and riding pit bikes on golf courses, or just kind of like goofing around, jumping bicycles into the lakes, and yeah, just having an all-around good time. It was probably 2012 whenever I drove to Orlando in my van for the first time, and I ended up riding with pretty much everyone. The first person I ended up riding with really though was Harley, and I was absolutely mind blown whenever I saw how much weight he was putting in his boat. The wake was absolutely massive. Nicola was doing the same thing. Paulie Koch had his 230 at his house. He was doing the same thing in that boat, and everyone just had massive wakes. With these big wakes, it definitely made all of these hard tricks seem a lot more achievable. The one thing that kind of sucks about big wakes is it takes a pretty big price to achieve a big wake. My dad actually had the family ski boat Supra up for sale for like almost 2 years at this point, and I was spending like almost every single day of the summer sort of like browsing Craigslist for extremely underpriced X-Stars with the big engine. The Supra was actually like pretty overpriced. That's kind of why like no one really wanted to buy it, but finally someone came out and checked it out and they bought it straight up. And it just so happened that like 3 days before that, an old school 2nd gen XR with that sick 8.1 liter engine popped up on Craigslist, extremely underpriced. So yeah, it was pretty perfect timing for that to happen, and we ended up getting that boat with the big engine. This is kind of like when I wanted to take things more seriously. I had the opportunity to ride a bigger wake. 720 started turning into 900s, Mobes started turning into Mobe 5s, and I really wanted to try and like progress really fast. Now that I was learning bigger tricks, I kind of sort of wanted to like make my first video where I like took it pretty seriously and tried to like make a list of tricks that I wanted to accomplish. And it started going off like really well, and then about halfway through the tricks I kind of wanted to get done, the engine in that boat ended up blowing up. As crappy as it sounds, this was kind of like perfect timing as well, because around this time is when BSR Cable Park actually opened. And before, I didn't really like riding cable, but I went there for the first time and I absolutely loved it there. I ended up buying a season pass with all the money I had saved up, and yeah, I rode there every single day. I ended up staying on the Baylor wakeboard team's couch for the entire winter, and I rode there and practiced every single day and had really good drive to try and push and get better at riding cable. As I started getting better at cable that winter, I thought it might have been like a good time to sort of try and mesh a video together of both boat and cable combined. So that's kind of like exactly what I did. I just kind of like wrote a list of tricks that I wanted to accomplish on the cable as well, and I started banging them out as much as I can, and then finally I kind of like put a video together, and that went up on all the websites like Wakeboard Mag, Alliance Wake, all the wakeboarding websites that there was at the time. And the video kind of took off, and it was the first time I sort of got any sort of recognition, and it felt really good, and that kind of gave me the drive to film and make even more videos to try and show more people what I could do. As I was growing up, I was already kind of making videos of me and my friends riding and stuff like that. Here's some of the clips.
getting how I go from being a man that you argue with to me.
But now that I started to take things more seriously, I started to notice that some of the older guys in the sport that hadn't really done anything in years, hadn't won anything, hadn't put out any videos or anything like that, they're still being paid and supported by big sponsors and brands. Things like this shouldn't really piss me off, but it did. So I had the idea to save up some money, cleaning pools, and then drive my van to Orlando again. And I figured I could use this video making thing a little bit more strategically. I was actually really good friends with some of the best young riders in the world at this time, like Gunnar Daff, Keenan Allen, Mike Dowdy, Kyle Evans, the list goes on. We were all kind of from different places, so we all sort of had different audiences, and I thought it would be a really good idea to film videos together and push these videos out to all of our different audiences, and it would help all of us grow as a whole. And that's exactly what we did. I kind of stayed in Orlando for 3 months in my van outside of Mike Dowdy's driveway, and we filmed a bunch of different videos called the Backyard Series. Some of these videos actually kind of took off, so I think it was pretty good for all of us and sort of pushed us forward. After this, I ended up driving back to Texas and started to ride some more cable back at BSR. This is kind of like when Graham moved to BSR. We rode together a bit, but yeah, there was like a Monster Energy Triple Crown competition coming up, and I thought, wow, this would really be cool. I'd never ridden like a cable contest before, so yeah, I started like practicing air tricks every day for this contest, and when it finally came around, I realized that I didn't even know what a Zeech was or anything like that. So yeah, I don't know. The focus was like mainly on rails and things like that. So I decided to like not do the contest because I'm pretty sure I would have got destroyed. Besides the point, I met Courtney Angus at this event, and Graham, Courtney, and I ended up taking my van up to Cincinnati, riding that cable park, and we drove my van to pretty much every cable park along the East Coast. We ended up making a lot of videos along the way, and they turned out pretty dope. The season started coming to an end, and I ended up dating Courtney. And it just so happened that her dad owned multiple cable parks in Australia. She told me I could work there for 45 bucks an hour driving a 2-tower cable. So what did I do? I spent every last dollar I had on a flight and a visa. I ended up going to Australia with $0 to my name on an 8-month round trip ticket. This actually gave me the opportunity to ride every single day at Cable's Wake Park Penrith, and I learned so much while I was there. Things were actually going really, really well, and O'Brien Wakeboards finally signed me to their pro team, and this is the first time I actually had like legit support from a sponsor. I ended up making more and more videos that entire 8 months I was there, and yeah, it was a really good time. After that 8 months was up, it would have been the next year I ended up going back to America. We would have gone on our separate paths, but yeah, later that year, O'Brien ended up sending me over to Asia with their Southeast Asian rep. After getting to Asia, it was a pretty rough start, but I did get to go to Singapore, Indonesia, and then over to Philippines. But yeah, I found out that the O'Brien rep I was with had a pretty bad reputation in Southeast Asia. He had a lot of burnt bridges, so I ended up bailing on the guy. I only had $1,000 cash on me, so I took a bus to CWC and ended up staying with Derry Malloy at his cabin at CWC for 6 months with only $1,000. I ended up eating chicken bihan every single day for the entire 6 months I was there because it was the cheapest thing you could possibly get, but I was absolutely mind blown with this cable park. It was the absolute best. Plus all the best riders were there, so you could basically just hop behind one of the best riders and sort of follow their lines, and you could learn super easy. I progressed so much while I was there, and I tried to make my cable riding the best I possibly could. I ended up making quite a few videos while I was there, and I finally went back to America. Now I was back in America riding and stuff again.
Sunset, it's a Friday night. You smoke a cigarette.
I don't know if you guys really know, but I have quite a loud mouth on me. You know, I talk quite a bit of shit, you know, it's pretty fun, but finally it sort of like caught up to me, and Kobe Mikasic ended up kicking me off of O'Brien after riding for them for 11 years. I didn't really agree with O'Brien and kind of like how they did their marketing and how they're pushing their brand, but I guess that's not really my job to decide. But yeah, I ended up getting kicked off, and this was actually extremely devastating for me. I mean, they were my only sponsor. It was my only sort of like support for wakeboarding, and yeah, now it was gone. Now I had no budget to help me get places, or no budget to do anything wakeboard related, really. I mean, it costs money, it's expensive, and without them, it seemed almost impossible. I ended up spray painting all of my boards black, and then I tried some triple flips to sort of try and put my name back on the map. I never ended up landing one, but I got pretty close. After that, I continued riding a black board for almost the entire season. Around winter of 2015 to 2016, CWB or Connolly ended up giving me a shot, and I ended up heading over to CWC again, and I ended up making a welcome to CWB video over there. I ended up doing like a full-blown Texas tour with CWB, went to all the parks in Texas, demoed out all the boards, and made a couple videos doing that as well. I pumped out tons and tons of videos for CWB or Connolly, and they just never really had the desire to really give me any budget and couldn't really help me out very much. So yeah, it was really kind of like a challenging time. It would be kind of hard to like eat, or kind of hard to put gas in the car, or you know, just kind of hard to even get to the cable park to go and wakeboard. So you know, at this point of time, I had almost sort of given up on wakeboarding, and I just didn't really want to do it anymore, just because I couldn't really afford it. And I guess this is sort of when I decided to make a decision where I wanted to make one last video, one banger, and then just sort of peace out and say kind of goodbye to wakeboarding and go get a real job. For this video, I kind of didn't really give a shit whether I got hurt or not, so I kind of just blasted some mega gaps, and it went pretty well. Here's some of the clips. This video ended up blowing up, and this sort of turned things around for me. Dubai ended up signing me soon after. They sent me to Dubai and we ended up making a pretty cool video project there. At the end of that season, Greg Nelson from Hyperlite ended up approaching me, wanting to sign me, and I was absolutely mind blown. Hyperlite was the company I thought was the absolute sickest ever since I was a little kid. I actually ended up declining Greg's offer only because I had started filming another full-blown video section called Still Gonna Send It, which was a sequel to Full Send, and I had already done quite a few extremely sketchy tricks that I didn't want to have to do again. He actually ended up calling me back, and he really believed in me. He wanted to support the videos I had going on, and he just like really believed in my ideas, and it was the first time ever that a board company wanted to fully support me and have my back, and yeah, this felt pretty nice. So I ended up signing with Hyperlite, and I think it was the best decision I ever made with a board company. So I got straight to work and started making a Hyperlite welcome to the team video. After making the welcome to the team video, I went to work again and started remaking the Still Gonna Send It video part, which was a sequel to Full Send.
You guys silly? I'm still gonna send it.
This video absolutely took off once again, just like the Full Send video. Everyone in the whole industry really seemed to love it, and that was really cool. But people only really knew me for my riding and the tricks I could do, and the industry is so small. So I thought that maybe I should do YouTube and try and reach out to a larger audience and let people get to know me as a person, not just my wakeboarding. Maybe help people learn new tricks and give back to the sport, and really just show people how fun wakeboarding can be. So I started this thing January 1st, 2019, that I was gonna make a video every second day forever, where anyone can hop on YouTube and just watch these videos and get to see wakeboarding every second day on a consistent basis. And so far we've grown all the way up to 85,000 subscribers. It's been so fun and such a good time along the way. And I wanted to thank you guys for sticking around and watching all the videos. It wouldn't be possible to keep making these without you. Also, I wanted to thank my dad, my friends, Hyperlite Wakeboards, Dubai Centurion Boats, and Jet Pilot Life Jackets for helping me out along the way, because it definitely would not have been possible to get here without them. That pretty much sums it up for my career so far. I don't really plan on stopping anytime soon, so I'm sure there's a ton more videos coming y'all's way and a ton more great memories. Also, if you did make it this far into the video, thanks. I mean, that's pretty mind-blowing. And if I am your favorite rider, I will leave the link to the readers poll from Wakeboarding Magazine below, and if you want to give the homie a vote, I'd be extremely grateful, so feel free to go help me out. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today. If you guys like this video, make sure you give me a thumbs up, comment below what kind of videos you guys want to see in the future, and remember, I'll be uploading a wakeboarding video every second day forever, so make sure you guys subscribe. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.